Hi, honeys. It's Michelle. I'm here today to do a little coffee chat with you. I haven't done that for, I don't know, quite a while. And I just thought it'd be fun to sit and talk to you a little bit, just have a little chit chat, get caught up. There's not a whole lot that's really new here. I'm still planning on doing the weight loss video, but we've been going to the gym. I do have a trainer I've been working with now, which I guess that's new. I'm so out of shape at this point. I mean, the truth is I had that anemia for years. It's not the doctor's fault. They did test me for anemia multiple times. It's just, because the kind that I had is the kind that is, it's where the iron that's stored in your bones. They have to do special tests for that. So it's not a regular blood work, like a blood workup kind of thing. So it's not my previous doctor's fault that they didn't notice it, because I was so sedentary for so long, and then it took a while to get my iron levels back up. It's just taking a while to get back into shape, I'm trying, I don't know, it's like it's so hard to get active again. My body is really fighting it. Like, I just want to lay around. I want to be a sloth, Like, in my mind, I want to be active, but my body is like, oh, let's just sit down. Let's just lay around. It's fine. And I don't know where that's coming from. So I kind of need somebody to hold me accountable. And I don't just, yes, I have Brad, and yes, he does say, come on, honey, you should probably, do this or go to the gym or whatever. But it's beyond that. I need somebody to tell me, hey, that's not enough. I was just riding the stationary bike, and it turns out that's not enough. Did you know that? I didn't know that. It's not enough. Might as well, I'm not saying I might as well not go, but I actually might as well not go at that point. Now, if you're going to take a spinning class, like that kind of bike, that's good. But a regular stationary bike, it's just, I don't know, maybe some people can make it work, but for me personally, it's a waste of time. Now, a treadmill, on the other hand, that my trainer says, if you do it at quite the incline and you're walking at a good pace, that is worth doing. What I've been doing is, it's like what they call like a hill, where you're going up and down. And I put like metal music on, and I'm like kind of getting angry and like thinking about somebody that pissed me off at work that day or that kind of thing, and just going. So what I do is I lift weights for, I don't know, 15 minutes, and then I go and I work out on the treadmill for like half an hour, and then another 5-minute cool down, and then I stretch, and then that's it. I work out with the trainer once a week for half an hour. I'd love to work out with him multiple times a week, but it's not cheap. And can I afford to work out with him? Probably not, but we're talking about my health. And I've mentioned many times on here that my grandma Rosemary was very important to me, and I had my last conversation with her was very important to me, and she asked me to promise her that I would put my health first. She said that she felt like she didn't put her health as enough of a priority. She felt like she put things off too much, trying to like, how would you word it? Kind of like walk it off, so to speak, putting surgeries off or trying all kinds of alternative methods before you just do the surgery, knowing that you have to have the surgery, that kind of thing. She said that she felt like she spent too many years of her youth being in pain, that kind of thing. And she said if she could do it all over again, she would have just made sure to be in the best of health possible. And I promised her that I would do that, that I would try to take good care of myself. And so once I found out what was wrong with me, why I had no energy, the anemia, I did everything I could to get it to go away. And when it went away, I've been doing everything I can think of to try to get healthy and in shape again. I've been on a lot, I've been on a lot of medications to stay healthy, triglyceride medication and cholesterol medication and blood pressure medication. And you know what? I don't want to take any of that stuff anymore. The fact that I am healthy right now is just because I'm on all these medications. But with my weight, I am a medical disaster waiting to happen. Like at any minute, my weight could become an emergency. That's how I look at it. So that's why when I found out I needed to start going to a new doctor, I started looking around, and I'm like, I'm going to be doing a video in the future about weight loss. I'm talking about anyway. I'm not going to go all the way into it, but so basically my last doctor, we just weren't really jiving very well, and I kind of felt like I needed to find a new one. It felt like every time I called, she would tell me to go to urgent care for like everything, and it was like, why am I calling you then? Why do I need you around? I decided I wanted to get a new doctor. I was, on Google, like everybody probably does, looking for a new doctor, and the first one I came across that had 5 stars said that he specialized in weight loss, and I thought, okay, this is my sign that it's time, So I went to go see him, and he looked at my BMI, and he said, you do know you're morbidly obese, right? And I said, I know. That's why I'm here to see you. And people will say, oh, you're not morbidly obese. Yeah, I am. Come on. I mean, you could be nice and say that I'm not fat or that I wasn't fat. I mean, I still am fat, but I was well over 200 pounds. I still am. And that's just not healthy. And it is what it is. I'm not comfortable being as big as I am or as big as I was. Yeah, that's why I started the weight loss journey, and I've been doing everything I can to lose weight and get back in shape. It's not even for looks, to be honest. Look, if you've seen me do a clothing try-on video, you probably know I'm not really short on confidence. It's not that. It's that I want to be able to do whatever I want. And what I mean by that is, if Brad and I go on vacation, I want to be able to go hiking without worrying about passing out halfway up the cliff, If we go horseback riding, I want to be able to do it without worrying I'm going to break the horse's back with my weight, Like, I don't want to constantly stop and worry, because I do when we go and do things. I'm constantly like, is there a weight limit on that? You know what I mean? I don't want to worry about that anymore. And this is a big one. I don't want to take these medications anymore. I want to get up in the morning, take my vitamins, and go about my day. I don't want to take medication anymore. And that's that. I think that's fair enough. And I really don't even really feel like I need to explain why I want to lose weight, but I'm just telling you in case you're curious. And when I make a decision that I want to do something, I am going to do it. As you know, I was a dancer. Ballerinas are very disciplined, and I definitely am. I'm very regimented with things, and I am very strict with myself. And so that's me. And the one thing I found when we started going to the gym was I just don't know. It's been so many years since I was in good shape. I don't know how to use the machines. And when I was in good shape, I'll be honest, I was in a dance studio. I wasn't going to a gym. So I don't know how to do gym exercising. And even when I did go to a gym after that, in my 20s, I would go to spin classes, yoga classes. I'd go swimming. I didn't actually go to it, lift weights, you know? So I wanted to learn how to lift weights. I want to learn how to use the machines. And I got to admit, it is a lot easier to work out with somebody yelling at you. Like having somebody tell me, okay, you got to do 5 more. It's like, okay, okay, okay. You know, I do like that. I like having a drill sergeant next to me. But my doctor does not have time to talk to me the way my trainer does. My doctor doesn't have time to answer all my questions. With my trainer, I send him messages whenever I want, and he answers me. And my trainer's also a licensed nutritionist, so he will sit and talk to me about what I'm eating and answer any questions I have. It's so awesome. Sorry if I keep sniffing. My allergies are just brutal right now. We keep getting these wind storms, and every time it happens, I just can't breathe. My least favorite weather is wind. A lot of people don't like snow or rain. I'm a wind person. I don't like wind. It messes up my hair and it creates more allergies. So I don't like wind. What about you? What don't you like? As far as this house goes, you're probably wondering, I'm still in the process of decorating the house. I can't wait to show you how everything's turned out. It doesn't feel like any room is done yet, but I'm having a good time. The fun part about moving, because we're not rich or anything, I can't do everything at once. And of course, we didn't hire like a decorator because, we're not rich. And I'm trying to do everything in an eclectic manner because that's just who I am. So I'm trying to either make everything myself or go to thrift shops or that kind of thing. So it's going to take a while, but I'm having so much fun. And that's part of how I decorate. I have fun doing it. And it's just wonderful. With the eating area, I'm just calling it an eating area because it's kind of a dining room / eating area. I want to have a hutch / buffet. There's like this, you've seen the house. There's that long area that's just an open wall. And I had this image of what I want, and I'm not finding it anywhere. And when I see, here's part of the problem. When I see what I like, it's expensive. I don't know what's up with me. I have the most expensive taste when I see things, So when I see what I like if I go online and I search stuff out, if I see a hutch that looks like what I like, it's like 10 grand. It's like, well, maybe, maybe I shouldn't get it. I know I'm not going to get it because that's a lot of money, right? So, so I've been trying to figure out what to do. And because we have the maple colored cabinets in our house, I really want it to be maple colored. And of course, it's hard to find maple colored hutches right now because it's kind of a 90s color or early 2000s. So what I decided to do is get a unfinished wood base and just paint it myself, stain it myself. And so I found the base that I want at IKEA. It's a wood base. It's just the bottom part, with the doors. And so I've got that, and we're going to put that together and stain it. And then from there, we're going to go from there. Yeah, or then we'll go from there. Decide what we're going to put on top, and then if we're going to put anything on either side, and that kind of thing. You know me, I'm going for kind of a Golden Girls theme, kitchen / dining room at this house, because that's who I am. So I want a round table. A big round table. Guess what? They're not cheap. Of course, course. That's just how my life goes, right? I want a big round table with a base that's like kind of like a what would you call that? Like a cone shape? Not cheap at all. I'd like a marble one, but once again, thousands and thousands of dollars for the dream one that I would have. Can I make it? I don't know, but if it's possible, I'm going to find a way. Like Brad said, you're not going to be able to make a round table, honey. You might be able to make the base, but the table, you're going to have to buy the top. I'm like, yeah, okay. Well, let's figure out how to make the base. Let's figure it out. I got a bird feeder, okay? And I've got some video of some birds on the balcony, and I just had the best. I just love these birds. I love looking out the window when I'm doing the dishes or cooking. The birds are gorgeous, and you know, the cats just love these birds. And I feel like Snow White. Every morning I wake up and they're out there waiting for me to feed them. But I decided, you know, I want to separate the pigeons from the birds. And gosh, wouldn't it be nice to have birds outside my office window as well? And, oh, but wouldn't it be nice to also have a bird house? It'd be so cute, wouldn't it? So I got a bird house. But don't you know, the birds are actually using the house. I thought they were for looks. Oh, no, they're using it. So now I have a little bird feeder / bath for the pigeons and the doves down in the backyard. I also have a little bird station in the yard outside my office window that is just swarming with birds. We now have a nickname for this. All of our homes have had, you know, everywhere we've lived has had some sort of a name or nickname. And this house is officially called the Bird House now. The cats love this house. They love just laying around looking at the birds. There's probably a video right here of Marty at this point just looking out the window at the birds. He just loves. He's gained a lot of weight. He's just laying around looking out the windows all the time. He's become very round, and it's funny because when we moved in here, I was telling you guys that we were worried about Zelda. The doctor thought there might be something wrong with her heart. She thought it might just be a murmur, but what if there's something else wrong with her? Zelda has lost some weight. She's been very active. She's bouncing up and down the stairs like a little bunny rabbit. It's the cutest thing I've ever seen. She's very active and she's happy, and she's waking me up in the middle of the night just so she can come, you know, just snuggling with me. And she's acting like she did when she was a kitten again. She's just very snuggly and lovable and playful. And if there's anything wrong with her heart, I really do think it's just a murmur. I've had a few people tell me, I'd love to hear what you think. I've had a few people now tell me they kind of think that when you take a cat or an animal in to get their teeth cleaned, it's almost like some kind of a cash grab they do where, oh, well, now we found this is wrong, and all of a sudden there's all this testing that needs to be done. And I've had so many people mention this that I'm kind of wondering if there's not some truth to it. So if you've had that happen to you, where suddenly your animal has to go to a specialist and you have to spend hundreds or thousands of dollars on testing just suddenly when they need a tooth cleaning, let me know, because it just seems really strange that I was told that she was perfectly healthy and there's nothing wrong with her, and all of a sudden she goes in for this free tooth cleaning and now she needs, you know, $800 worth of testing done. And that day I had to pay $700 on testing that day, and now they want to do another $800 of testing. And I just, do you believe in love at first sight? Because I do. I've had love at first sight more than once. I have had, when I met Brad, it was love at first sight. And when I met my newest hairdresser, it was love at first sight. I went into this place and it just felt so uplifting and creative and wonderful in there. And this hairdresser, she comes around the corner, and I was like, oh, I love this girl. There's, like, I almost felt like, you know, her and I are going to be friends. And I don't know if we are yet, right? But I have a feeling maybe. And so while she's doing my hair, we're just talking and we're laughing and we're just bouncing off of each other and just having the best conversation. And so I don't know, we'll see. But I have a feeling she might become a friend of mine. So, and she did a really good job on my hair too. I was very happy with how my hair turned out. And I mean, I know it's up right now, but, and she was telling me about some really great stuff that she found at Walmart. I might go get it and show it to you. So keep your eye out for that too. And what else was, oh, I wanted to tell you, know, I was thinking about something. So I was standing there, I was doing the dishes, I'm looking out the window at all these beautiful birds, and Zelda's laying in the window sunbathing and looking at the birds, and I've got the roses that I got from my rose bush in front of me, and I can smell them, and it's just so beautiful. And you know how much I love this house. And I was thinking, gosh, if you told me 14 years ago, because Zelda's about to turn 14. If you told me 14 years ago, today, what my life was going to be like in 14 years, I would not have believed you. If you told me that I'd be living in Vegas, I would have said, you're crazy. If you told me I'd be living in a house, I would think you were crazy. If you told me that I'd be remarried happily with 2 cats and roses from my own rose bush and a bunch of bird feeders, and I'd be running my own business, like, I would not have believed any of this stuff. And if you told me that I would have not just one YouTube page, but 2, wouldn't have believed you about that either. And I think if I looked at myself, like if I was myself then and I looked at me now, like I would have looked at the now me and thought, gosh, I'd like to have that person's life, you know? And I was just thinking about it, and it's like, so 14 years ago today, or at this point in my life, I had been married, and my ex had been in the Navy, and when he got out of the Navy, we moved to Florida. I had promised him that we would move to Florida when he got out of the Navy because that's where his family was from. So I was about to start going to this college in Florida when we were moving down there, and I had told him I wanted to live somewhat near the school, right? That was my stipulation. And I insisted on living in this particular apartment complex. I had to live there. I was just hell-bent on living in this particular complex. And I'll get to why this was important later. But so we move in there. We'd been there a month, maybe 2 months. And he comes home from work one day, And he tells me that he wants a divorce, that he doesn't love me. And I said, you don't love me anymore? And he says, I don't think I ever loved you. I don't think you're lovable. And I was just crushed. I was so crushed. And I really thought maybe I wasn't a lovable person. And I was so heartbroken. And I thought, oh my gosh, I'm never going to be happy again. And you know, at the time I had this cat named Alvin that was my whole world. I mean, that he was a wonderful cat. Alvin was, I don't know, he was just special. He was one of those cats that everybody loved. Even in people that didn't like cats loved Alvin. He was like a dog. He would walk up to anybody and say hello. And he would sit on the couch like this with his belly hanging over like a dog or like a person. Alvin had been with me for a long time at this point. He had been through my first divorce with me. He had been through quite a few single years with me and a lot of moving around, and you know, the years of my 20s with me. All the wild stuff. And it's like I think he was my guardian angel, and I think he might still be. According to a psychic, he still is. But boy, he was just an amazing cat, and I still think about him every day. Anyway, I had found out that he had kidney failure, and I was trying so hard to keep him alive, and my heart was just breaking. I was taking him to the vet constantly, and I knew he wasn't going to make it very long. And to be told that at that time in my life was awful, you know, that I wasn't lovable. And it was 2008, so you know how the economy was totally crashing at that time. So here I was in Florida. I had no friends in Florida. I had no family. Sorry, did you hear Brad laughing downstairs? I love his laugh. Anyway, I was going to a new school. It's like everything. And I was working at a temp agency, and I don't know. It's like nothing was clicking in life, and it was just awful. So I kept trying to make it work with this ex-husband, and he just kept letting me know that I was just not worth anything, and that I just was not, I was very discardable, you know, just not worth having around, that I was a pest and a nuisance. It was just so irritating to him that, you know, he had brought me to Florida, and now he felt guilty that he brought me there and I had nobody. So now he had to like make sure I was okay. And I started having all these panic attacks. I could not handle the mental abuse that I was going through with him. It was awful. He was really not very nice to me, if I'm honest. I mean, it was terrible. And it was so bad that when I was having a panic attack, and it was so severe, I had to go to the emergency room, and he just dropped me off at the entry to the emergency room, and the security guard was like, "Who was that?" And I said, "That's my husband." And he said, "That's your husband?" And I said, "Yeah." And he goes, "He just left you?" And I said, "Yeah." And he goes, "Oh, you need to leave him." And I said, "Oh, well, we're going through a divorce." And he says, "You might want to get that moving quick, because if I met a stranger on the street that needed to go to an emergency room, I would stay and make sure they were okay. And I thought, you're right. Like, he's just, it's like I had no worth as a human being to him. It was awful. So, my dad and my brothers helped get me an apartment, helped get me out from staying with him because I just had no way to get out of there. I was kind of stuck. I didn't have any money. And so I now because I was on a lease with him, I couldn't move out of the apartment complex. That's one thing that sucks about being on a lease with somebody. So I had to move into an apartment in the same complex, but at least I have my own apartment. So it was at the other side of the complex. Um, and that apartment was like this wonderful oasis. It was my own. And so me and Alvin, or no, sorry. By then, Alvin had passed away, and I had little kitten Zelda. And I had Joey. Joey was a dog that was 2 years old by then, that me and my ex had. He was supposed to be my ex's dog. And anyway, my ex didn't want him because he liked me more. I mean, obviously. So the three of us moved into the apartment, and I started working on myself. And I realized that the only person that can really make me happy is me. And the only person that can make me feel loved is me. And that I deserve a lot better than that. And that I would just rather be alone than be treated that way. And that if I would be fine being alone for the rest of my life than to be with somebody that didn't value me. I wanted to be with somebody that would, bring me breakfast in bed on a Sunday morning, or bring me chicken soup when I was sick, and make sure that I was okay when I was in the hospital, and that kind of thing. So I just felt like I was just going to stay alone or be with somebody who treated me the way I deserved to be treated. So I was very happily by myself for a year and a half in that apartment, 2 years, something like that. And I had always had a rule that if you are going to go out drinking, you go to the bar that's the closest to where you live. That way you can get a taxi home, and it'll be a cheap ride home because it's the closest to your house or to your apartment. So I met Brad at the place that I used to go when I would go out for drinks. And the reason I mentioned that it's funny that I had to live in that apartment is if I had lived in any other apartment, I wouldn't have met him because I wouldn't have gone to that pub. It would have been a different pub because I wouldn't have lived in that apartment. I now have a husband that when I was in the hospital years ago, he would not leave until they kicked him out. He would be there first thing in the morning and would stay with me all the way until night when they kicked him out. And if one of the nights the nurse let him stay, and he slept in the chair next to me, so it's just such a totally different life that I have. And I'm not saying it to brag or anything like that. I'm saying it because I think that we get the love that we think we deserve, and I decided that I deserved better. And I think that at the end of the day, though, the only person that can really make anybody happy is themselves. And the only person that can really make any of us feel loved is ourselves. And the whole reason I'm telling you this is I'm sure there's plenty of people out there right now that are feeling the way I felt 14 years ago. And I just want to tell you about this, because if I can turn everything around and end up having the life that I have now after having the life that I had 14 years ago, I think anybody can turn it around, because the truth is, there's nothing like spectacular about me. I'm just an everyday person. You know, I'm not like Mother Teresa or, you know, like I'm not like some, you know, I'm not Elon Musk or like a professional athlete, or like there's nothing like, you know, spectacular about me. I'm just a regular everyday person. And I just feel like if I can go from having like everything about my life being absolutely miserable to being a genuinely happy person, that's possible for anyone. And so hopefully somebody maybe needed to hear that. And if you needed to hear that, then I'm glad I said it. But yeah, don't ever let anybody tell you that you're not lovable, because we are all lovable. You know, if somebody ever says that to you, don't do what I did and try to work it out and just leave. If you can. That was the other thing, though, is I was kind of stuck. I mean, I had just given up everything to move there with him. I had nothing. I had no way to leave. And I had nobody there to help me. I had no friends or family. He knew I was stuck. That was part of the fun. So what is that song? You pick yourself up, you dust yourself off, you start all over again. And a hummingbird just flew by. I have a lot of those now, so you're gonna love this too. You know how I have a birdhouse now and all. We've got this hummingbird feeder, and hummingbirds never come by, and so I got a regular bird feeder and put bird seed in it, and that attracts every kind of bird you could imagine. And then I've got one of those suet things, I think you call, and nobody ever came for that either. And then one day they just started showing up, I think, and then it turns out maybe it wasn't bird season or something. Well, the hummingbird feeder ended up drying up. And so the one I had in there before was the store-bought kind. Well, I made a batch myself. And now that I made a batch, I'm seeing hummingbirds constantly. It turns out, I guess they prefer the homemade kind. So I'm not going to buy any more. I'm not going to buy it anymore. I'm just going to make it myself. I can't believe it that they prefer the homemade kind. So now I'm seeing them all the time. Who knew? Anyway. So that's all I've got for this excessively long coffee talk. I hope you enjoyed sitting and having some coffee with me, and I hope that you got something out of some of this conversation. And I also hope that you have a wonderful rest of your day or night. Also, I just have to tell you, I'm drinking some new coffee. It is, it's like brown sugar and maple syrup or something. I don't know. I'll put a picture of it here. It's so good. I love it. It's delicious. So if you're a coffee lover and this sounds good, you might want to try this one. It's good. Thanks so much for watching. I love you. Bye.